All right, day 2. Getting to the ASSP Convention Center. See how it goes. Huge space.
Come backstage. Good morning and welcome to Orlando. Good morning, everybody. Isn't this an incredible sight? Look around you. You are the vibrant heart of the safety profession. And it's because of you that this is the fastest growing conference in safety. Woo! Give me a clapper. Thank you all for taking time to come together to build this powerful community, for your dedication to networking, for bringing your incredible energy, bringing your good China here to Orlando.
Good morning. That's what I want to hear. So great to be here with you all. On behalf of the 2024-25 PDC Planning Committee, thank you for attending this year's conference. We have a great program planned to help you learn, connect, and share in many different ways. Please join me in thanking the committee for all their hard work and planning. Let's also celebrate the fact that we have close to 200 companies that have registered groups at Safety 2025. That's another new record for us. Clearly, these organizations recognize the value of investing in their safety and supporting the continued development of their safety teams. Now, let's recognize several ASSP members for their individual achievements. We had a terrific reception last evening to honor many of this year's award recipients. Be sure to check out this year's awards video on the ASSP website. First, let's recognize our 2025 Outstanding Safety Educator, Aluhan Awalasi. Congratulations, Aluhan. Next, the 2025 Thomas Resnick Standards Medal goes to Georgie Popov. Congratulations. Next, let's salute the 2025 Safety Professional of the Year, Stephen Iverson. Congratulations, Stephen. Finally, it's my distinct honor and privilege to invite ASSP's newest fellows onto the stage. Please welcome Ambassador Felix Manapol. He was not able to join us this morning. Congratulations, Felix. Next, we have Timothy Page Walthoff. We have Lauren Scholes. Leslie Ragstopper. And Christine Sullivan. Welcome, Felix, Tim, Lawrence, Leslie, and Steve. Your significant achievements in safety inspires us all. Congratulations. The ASSP Foundation is critical to ASSP's effort to promote the safety profession. Thanks to the generous support of the ASSP community, the foundation has invested more than $6 million to provide career guidance, support education, and develop future safety leaders. Your support of current and future professionals helps us meet our strategic goals for long-term growth and continued success in the profession.
The work we do impacts so many people. Alex just introduced you to some of your fellow members for their achievements, and I'd also like to recognize the volunteer leaders with us in the audience today, including past presidents and fellows, the elected leaders at all levels, council and committee members, authors, and instructors. So please stand so we can thank you for all you do. Come on, let's begin. We appreciate the commitment to ASSP and to the profession.
Now be honest. How many of you, when you saw that there was going to be a friendship expert in the room, you were like, either we or she is in the wrong room? I know how your little brains work. You're worried about keeping people out of emergency rooms and saving lives. You are not losing sleep over their loneliness. But I'm going to try to change that a little bit today. Not that I want you losing sleep, but I'm going to try to make a case for why this is one of the most important subjects we can be talking about at the ASSP2025. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here. Two primary reasons I really wanted to have this. You're so good at helping assess the risk of the waste and the air pollution and the ergonomics, all the different things that you're always assessing and taking into consideration. Those invisible things that seemingly are small, not paying attention to the little details. It's not reporting concerns. It's slower response time. All these things that end up leading to disengagement and creating more accidents and more incidents in our workplaces. So yeah, loneliness is a safety issue, absolutely. And when we feel disconnected, when we feel lonely, none of us do our best job. None of us know how to protect the people around us when we are in survival mode ourselves. And so for your sake, and for the people you care about and who are in your care, let's talk about just how big of a problem this is right now. In fact, a couple years ago, our U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness as the biggest public health issue of our time. That's kind of crazy. I mean, when we're talking about feeling disconnected, we're talking about not feeling safe. We can be surrounded by people, but if we don't feel seen, if it doesn't feel good, if it's not leaving us feeling like we can exhale, we end up saying that we don't really feel known, we don't really feel connected, we don't really feel like we have the relationships in place that are going to make a big difference. And that's leading to so many of us not just feeling disconnected, but it's having a consequence in our workplaces. Those of us who feel disconnected when we have a work group that has less trust and less connection, 40% more incidents are happening. That's 40% fewer phone calls you have to make. That's 40% fewer incident reports you have to fill out. That's 40% people who are doing better in their jobs and in their health. But we don't want people just safe, we want them healthy. And there is nothing that matters more to our health. There is nothing that matters more to our health. There is nothing that matters more to our health right now than our loneliness. It's at the foundation of every single thing else we say we care about. If we care about sleep, guess what? People who feel connected sleep better. If we care about anything in our lives, whether it's disease, whether it's germs, whether it's cancer, every possible way of living and dying in this world has at its core the question, or the answer to the most important question we can ask you right now: how loved and supported do you feel? And that will tell us more about your incidence of death and illness 20 years out than any other question we can ask you. It does more damage in your body than smoking cigarettes, twice as harmful as being obese, worse than being a lifelong alcoholic, worse than not exercising, it's worse than living in a polluted area. Our sense of connection, or not, determines how much inflammation is in our body. It determines how many different stimuli we can absorb. It determines how narrow our worldview gets or how big it gets. It determines how we show up, how distracted we are, how focused we are, all of it. Look at that last number there. 60% more increased risk of premature death from all incidents of illness if we feel disconnected. And let me just take a moment to talk about what this disconnection is. Because feeling lonely isn't the problem. Raise your hand if you've ever felt hungry. Anybody here ever felt hungry? Okay, good. So we got a common ground here. And that was because your body was telling you needed what? Okay, brilliant. And who's here ever felt thirsty before? Any of those? Okay, a couple of you, yeah. And that's because your body needed. Yeah. And when you feel exhausted, I'm not even going to ask because I know none of you ever feel exhausted, but some people feel exhausted. And when they feel exhausted, it's because they need sleep. And when we feel lonely, that's our body sending us a message that we have an unmet need, just like hunger, thirst, and sleep. And it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something that's wrong with us. It's not a personal problem. It is our body working. It is our body telling us that we have an unmet need. It's sending us a message that says, I need to feel supported. What makes for a healthy team? How do we feel closer to some people than others? How can we evaluate the health of a relationship? And when we look at all the science out there, I translate all that science into what are the best practices, the best protocols, the best ways that we can help live, work, and do our lives better. And I'm going to call these, I call them the 3 relationship requirements. For your purposes, think of these as like minimum compliance laws. These are like the minimum basic. Like I would rather us do best practices and lift these up, but these are like minimum compliance. You cannot have a healthy relationship if you do not have these 3 things. So these 3 things are the same things that you need to have in your marriages and your romantic relationships. You can judge the health of your relationship, but you probably feel like you can probably just feel how great that is right now or not. But this gives you a framework for assessing why it is great or why it isn't. Interestingly enough, these 3 things are what I go into companies and organizations and do assessments and evaluation. I can measure how much everybody on the team or in the organization feels like they belong. It's the same thing that determines the health of any of your friendships, any of your relationships back in home in your personal lives. And so when you have healthy relationships, your healthy relationship has all 3 of these things. You may not have named it, you may not have known it, but you will be able to look back and say, oh yeah, check, check, check. And flip side, any relationship in your life that's not feeling so fun and so fabulous right now, you'll be able to quickly identify which of these 3 things is in lack. So those 3 things are going to play out. We're going to look at these 3 things here as what these best practices are. But we're looking for relationships where both people feel seen in safe and satisfying ways. Do you like the word safe in there? I didn't put that in there for you. That's always been my definition of healthy relationships. Because you and I are not so that very different. I also want everything to be safe. We just are measuring and looking at different parts of the world. But I want you to be in safe relationships. Because every single one of us wants to be seen. You know, I was talking earlier about your jobs at work and how you have to kind of face this, like, never feeling like anybody really understands you. And the weight you're carrying, and this 10 steps ahead that you have to be above all of the rest of us. And all the different things you have to think through, all the dumb things we're going to try, and all of the parameters of everything that could possibly go wrong. Nobody, except the people in this room, are really going to be able to think like you do. But we want you to feel seen. And whatever environment you're in, whether it's in this room or back home, we want you to feel seen. Every single one of us wants to be known, but not if we're going to be judged, not if we're going to be thought less of. We want to feel safe and we want to feel good. So this is the end goal. Whether we're working with a team, whether we're working with one-on-one, whether you're looking at your friendships, for whatever context you're in, the goal is that both people feel seen in safe and satisfying ways. The ways we get that are these 3 best practices, these 3 minimum compliance predictors and drivers of relationship. So we're going to start with the very first one. We're going to build out a triangle. So on the foundation of every healthy relationship, there has to be positivity. Positivity is, like, think about it as the most low-risk environment. So this is what we're trying to foster in our relationships. We're trying to create a place where the negativity goes down and the positivity goes up, where the risks and the
threats are down and where safety goes up. And so in relationship terms, this looks like being able to feel good and having the pleasant emotions that make that relationship feel that satisfaction, feel that reward. Interestingly enough, the research shows that we have to have 5 positive interactions for every day. So that, think of it as exchange rate. You have to make 5 deposits in every relationship for every withdrawal that you're going to make. Some of those deposits, yeah, we want to have fun. I heard you guys are going to have fun at this conference. Yes, I saw the pickleball. She's already cheering on the front row. I want you to have so much fun. Because nobody, none of you got on the plane and came here and were like, I hope this conference is super boring. I hope I feel like judged all the time. I hope I feel inferior. I hope I just feel like a terrible person at the end of this conference. You may now have thought about the positivity ratio. You may now have been like, okay, I need 5 positive experiences for every negative experience. But you absolutely do. You are an animal, and you gravitate to the people, the places, and the things, the experiences that you believe are going to leave you feeling more good than bad. But at the end is, how do people feel when they leave our presence? How do people feel when we show up? And that's a really powerful question for all of us when we think about teams, when we think about going on sites, when we think about being with the crew. How are we showing up and adding positive emotions, knowing that we are also going to be doing some negative emotions, knowing that some hard things need to be said, some procedures need to be double-checked, knowing that we are showing up and like some people are kind of doing the eye roll or doing whatever it is they do. We can show up and be like, what are the ways that I can minimize that fear for people, and what are the ways I can increase them feeling some fun around me? And all of us, to do our jobs effectively, to build our teams, to keep our people safe, to have healthy marriages, good friendships, to enjoy this conference. What are we doing to make sure we're making eye contact with each other, to bring smiles to each other, to remember each other's names? So our job, first and foremost, in every healthy relationship is to make sure it has a reward to it, to make sure it feels satisfying. That would make sense, right? Because not a single one of you is like, well, I hope she teaches us how to like have unhealthy, bad relationships that leave us feeling awful. When you think about wanting friends, when you feel lonely, when you feel disconnected every single time, it's because you want something that leaves you feeling better. And so just realize your number one job description as a friend, as a person who builds friendships at work, is how can I help create a positive environment? Low risk, high reward environment. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. Doesn't leave us feeling safe. We want to know what to expect, and this is the part of relationship that tells us what we can expect. So every relationship starts on the bottom of this triangle, and as we practice consistency, we start moving some relationships up the triangle. For some of us, we'll only meet once, and it will be an amazing, friendly experience. It will be an awesome conference we have together. But it won't be a friendship unless we repeat the experience. And the research shows that we have to have around 50 to 80 hours to move somebody about a third of the way up the triangle, 100 hours to be about halfway up the triangle, and with our bestest, closest friends, we have spent 200 hours together. How many of you just have 200 hours sitting around with nothing to do? None of us, right? But you think about the people you feel safest and closest to. And I can guarantee they're the people that you have logged a lot of history with. And so think about this as an investment. It's so easy for us to sometimes move, change jobs, just be like, oh, let's go make new friends. We go through divorces, we switch teams. And we sometimes don't realize the massive investments we've made in relationships, and we think we can just start all over. And we've walked away from hundreds of hours of investment when we should be protecting those investments and building on those investments and adding more to those investments. This is the reason, this is the factor of relationships, this is the driver of all of our relationships. It actually is why we bond with the people we work with. It's not because you would pick each other out of a lineup of great options. It's because you see each other regularly. You bond with the people that you see most often. All the research will bear that out. You're more likely to be close to the person you sit next to in school. You're more likely to be close to the person you room with. You're more likely to be friends with the coworkers who sit next to you. Proximity makes a massive difference. Repetition makes a massive difference. When we feel like we have that repetition of time and behavior is what makes us feel reliable and safe in those relationships. So for some of you, your relationships need to increase their consistency. For some of you, if you only talk to your friends once a year, you're not going to feel that. You might be like, oh, we can pick up right where we left off. Yes, I feel safe. But you're not really going to get the benefit of ongoing support right now if they don't actually know what's going on right now. For some of you, you have consistency in your relationships, but it's how do we spend different time together? How do we add memories to that? How do we log different ways of being with each other? How do we help make this feel more trustworthy? Some of the ways we build trust at work as we're building out these relationships is figuring out how we can take time during meetings, during gatherings, even just let everybody check in quickly. Makes such a difference. It might feel like a waste of time. It is not. The research bears out that even just taking 2 or 3 minutes for everybody to just touch base and be seen, to just even say out loud their name and what they did for the weekend, or one thing that they're proud of from work this week, or like what's one thing that's leaving them feeling safer. Just sharing a little bit. And even if we don't have time for everybody to go around that room or our whole team meeting, to have them pair up in 2s and 3s and share with each other makes such a difference. I just want to speak to the men in the audience for half a moment here. You already are so excited. Yeah, let me tell a story actually. One of the gentlemen, I was on book tour for my book, my second book called Frientimacy. And I had coined a new word because I was out on a campaign of like, we all need more intimacy in our lives, our friendships, and all of your cute little 6th grade brains kept being like, does she want us to have more sex? And I was like, maybe, but that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, if you want that, great. What I'm talking about is platonic intimacy. Intimacy is not the same thing. Intimacy is where we feel connected, seen, and known. And it's a deepening of our relationship. It's not a romantic thing. It can be, but it's not the same. So I had to coin a new word, frientimacy, to help all of us just kind of create a new folder in our head. And so as it would not surprise you, mostly women came up to my book tours on that particular book. And there's one great gentleman, he came, and I think he was planning on attending the event until he saw how many women were at the event and how he may have been the only guy at that event. So he stood back in the art history section on the back left corner of my audience as I was doing the book signing and the book reading up front. And every time I would make eye contact with him, he would quickly look away and pretend to be scanning the book title again. And then afterwards, I'm giving autographs and hugging people and taking photos with them, and they're buying books, and I got a line. And it took a little while. They finally all left, and he came up to me and said, can I ask you a question? I said, yes, you may. You have earned the right, like after 90 minutes of pretending you're not here and hanging out the whole time, you can ask me anything you want. And he stood in front of me, and he hemmed and hawed, and he kind of did this like, oh, I don't even know how to ask the question. And I said, just ask him. Oh, I would feel so, my friends think, oh, you know what, I'm good. I said, I think you should just ask a question. He hemmed and hawed, and finally he just kind of was like, oh, I don't know, do I need new friends? Then I have bad friends. Oh no, of course I don't have bad friends. And the second he asked the question, he immediately was like, no, I have really good friends. I have really good friends, he assured me. And I said, okay, great. And then he said, you know, I still hang out with my high school friends on a pretty regular basis at the bars and the sports teams. He's like, how many guys do you know can say that? That's pretty impressive, right? I said, that's good consistency. And he said, I golf with the same foursome. Like we golf on a regular basis. Like talk about consistency, that we do all the time. And we're spending 4 hours together. That's impressive, I said. Poker nights that they had. He was very social. He had all kinds of things going on. And then he said, but, there's always the but. But, a couple of months ago, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. And I don't know who to talk to. It's not the kind of thing I can bring up on the golf course. It's not the kind of thing people want to talk about at poker night when everyone's just blowing off steam. It's not the kind of thing we're going to talk about at the bar. He said, but I need to talk about it. I don't feel seen, I'm scared, and I don't have good friends. He had good friends. He had really good friends. What he didn't have was vulnerable friends. He had relationships that had positive emotions and consistency. This is how we have modeled friendships for men in our culture. This is not because this is how men do friendships. Let's be clear. This is not how men need friendships. Let's be clear. This is how we've modeled, encouraged, given permission, validated for men to do friendships. Go out and have a good time. And it's one of the reasons why men and I are getting younger than women. You care about safety, you care about health. Gentlemen, we need to do friendship differently. And this is not to let the women off the hook, because women, well, we can do a whole workshop on that. Which of the 3 requirements do you think we have the worst reputation of doing as women in our culture? Just yell it out. Positively. Yes, we can be vulnerable. Oh, we will tell you everything. And stereotyping, of course. But we can be vulnerable, and we will be consistent. We can talk all the time. My husband teases me and my girlfriends, like, we have Marco Polo, and we're consistent. We're talking all the time, and we're telling each other everything. And he's like, how do you still have more things to talk about when you get together? We have lots to share. Some of us have not done a really great job of practicing positivity. We have a reputation for being catty and jealous, for putting each other down. So we have a lot of work to do too. So this is not about any one particular gender. What we need to look at is all 3 of these together. And each of us ask ourselves, which one would make the biggest difference in my life, in my friendship? So we'll come back to that in 1 minute, but I want to just go back to the vulnerability for a second in the workplace. Vulnerability in the workplace is so needed. I mean, in your professions especially. You want people who, when they see something, say something. You want people who, when they've got a concern, will name it. You want people who will show up and practice trying something in a new way. You want people who are willing to problem solve, who are willing to take ownership, who are willing to brainstorm. You want people who are willing to own up to what they did and apologize. You want people who are willing to have awkward conversations. You absolutely may not want vulnerable bridges and buildings and tunnels and canals and all the other beautiful things you keep saying. But you do need a vulnerable team. You do need vulnerability in your relationship. You do need your people to feel seen and heard for what they're experiencing, what they're needing. And you do need them to hear what you need and what you want. And the only way to have that conversation both directions is to show up with both of you being willing to speak. So, whether it's in our workplaces, in our friendships, in our marriages, here at this conference, we absolutely need all 3 of these requirements. So I'm going to ask the housewives to come up for just a moment, and we are going to practice. Oh, you're so excited. You look so good. You look so good. So what I'm going to ask you to do.
Good old John boy here. All right, stepping out for a break. Got a nice area picked out front, fountain in the backs. We're having fun. Small little fishy next to the water though. These guys. This thing is nuts. how fucking huge that thing is. I need this for my house. There's tons of stuff. Rubber ducky. Awesome, thank you. Oh.
Hats down the center where that ball is.
I know, that's where I need it.
Buffs and stickers.
We'll go right here. That is not the middle.
Oh,
That is
it's headed that
that is
direction.
not a hat.
That's from Westerville.
You didn't win a hat, but you did win a sticker. Your profession are dealing with forms, documents, training, tracking all the training and certification, or is there something that is a bigger pain for you?
Probably other. Let's go with other.
You have to tell me what it is, though.
I'd just say working with our leagues on holding people accountable to our standards.
Beautiful.
1, 2, 3, 4. So, we're going to take it a next layer. Is the problem workers' buy-in a big stress for you? Managing your inspections or keeping up with all the corrective actions?
Lately keeping up with corrective actions.
Is that because you do not have a software in place?
Kinda, sorta. We don't really have software. It's more of our procedures.
Binders and
Yes.
manual procedures?
Well,
So do you
physicals.
get everything on time? All the
No,
time?
no.
Well, then you better scan my little QR code. Or you can always scan this bad boy on the back, too.
I got you one.
You can do it.
Going for that one. Looks probably the easiest. Maybe not. No, it's not.
Has anybody won anything?
Go back a little bit.
No.
Might be hard with the
It was all like every time we did it.
where it's at.
Yeah. And it's all easy. It's all easy.
Oh! There you go.
There you go.
What'd you get? Crack it open, let's see.
Take the
Sure.
ball back. Yes. It's a total immersive. It's touch, feel, sight, sound, and smell. Yeah. He's going to do a forklift. Does he need any hand paddles or anything?
This one is called this one.
Okay.
There's your hands. So this one's
Okay, so we recently launched a similar program with a company called Pixar, but one of the challenges we have is the program is designed for the development sector or there's nothing specific. So I was wondering if you were able to adopt custom experience. Would you mind if I scanned your badge? That way we can holler. We don't.
there. It goes on there. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's Oh, you got a mess to clean up. How'd that one compare?
Old Milwaukee. I was just after 12, I believe. Oh, I almost won. This is the trap for all men. Milwaukee. Oh yeah. Woohoo! Pickleball. I don't know if I'm going to get that JBL or not. What do we got here?
Looks like the prongs in there, right?
Look, sometimes they twist. It's touchy.
Yeah.
We'll go for it. Oh, it's slick. Alright, we are done with day 2. Off to the hotel. Let's see what's going on.